Guess how many days there are before the next presidential election? Only 837. Do you think that's too soon for us to be talking about who might run in the Democratic Party? I don't, and neither do our own political junkies, CNN's own Harry Enten and Chris Cillizza. Gentlemen, it's never too early, right?
Never.
No.
Never.
No, it's only
never.
Two
Never,
years,
ever, ever.
3 months, and 14 days.
I mean, there you go. It's all I can think about these days, truly, all I can think about. You guys have a piece out that's getting a ton of buzz and a ton of attention, ranking the top 10 potential contenders for 2020. You've got Joe Biden at the top, Cillizza. Walk me through why that's an exciting pick for the party.
Well, I don't know that it's an exciting pick for the party, but I don't know if Donald Trump as president, the question is, do Democrats want to pick their version of Trump or the anti-Trump? Biden in some ways is the anti-Trump. Right now, Harry and I write about this in the piece, typically the guy or gal who is in first, who is ahead in early polling, tends to be there right at the end. That's Joe Biden right now, ahead in national polling, ahead in early state polling, and ahead, by the way, it's kind of got missed, but ahead by double digits over Donald Trump in general election polling. So at this date, if you're betting, Joe Biden is your best bet. The question, obviously, is he's 75 years old. Does the party want that now?
Trump, how old's Trump?
72.
There you go. All right. 70 is the new 40, apparently. Harry, to you, what I noticed right away from this list, if we can pull it back up, guys, there's not a single business leader, right? There's not a Howard Schultz on that list. There's not a Mark Cuban on that list. There's not some of these names that were floated out there as maybe being the anti-Trump, but still coming from the business world and not from the world of politics. These are all politicians.
They are all politicians, and I will say, look, it's certainly possible that one of them could end up being the nominee, but at the end of the day, given where the Democratic Party is right now, right, it's very difficult for me to imagine that a business leader could potentially win, especially with the Bernie wing sort of in its ascendancy and being very anti-Wall Street. So, you know, Schultz, Mike Bloomberg's another name that a lot of people have spoken about. They could certainly enter, but I think they're going to find a lot of problems, especially if they have connections to Wall Street.
What about Cillizza, the more liberal, sort of in the Bernie wing, the Bernie, obviously right there in the middle at 5.
Yeah.
Also, Senator Sanders, I should call him. Also, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren. I mean, Kamala Harris is now writing this book, right? It's a pretty clear where her path is headed. Elizabeth Warren is taking more trips overseas, trying to beef up those foreign policy chops.
Yeah, look, so I would say Biden is sort of the establishment wing of the party, and then the next 4 people Harry and I have ranked, 2 through 5, are all liberals, without question, and I would say liberals and trying to get left of each other as fast as they can. So Warren, Harris, Gillibrand, Sanders. The thing that the argument for Sanders is he's been there the longest. The argument against him is, do Democrats really want to relitigate 2016 in any way, shape, or form? And again, Bernie Sanders is 76 years old. Is that the road they want to go?
Did you not hear me at the beginning of the segment that 70 is the new 40?
Sorry. So I would know. I do think Kamala Harris, Harry and I have her third. I do think she has real potential. First Indian American and African American elected to the Senate in California. You don't write a memoir if you're a politician in 2019 unless you are thinking about running for national offices. There are not coincidences like that.
Well, 2 points. One issue, Harry, with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand that will follow her, that she'll have to answer for, is her much more moderate views when she was representing upstate New York. Very different than calling to abolish ICE. Now, what about Elizabeth Warren and the Pocahontas attacks on the president? I mean, do things like that stick, though? Maybe
they stick in a general election, but certainly I think she'd wear it as a badge of honor in a primary campaign. And so I think that's a big part of what's going on here. I think why we have Liz Warren, too, is she is someone I believe who could link up both the left wing of the party as well as the more establishment wing of the party. And when you're trying to win a Democratic primary, remember, it's proportional. So you can't just win with 25% of the vote. You need to be able to put together 40, 45, 50% in order to win a nomination. And in my opinion, Liz Warren may be able to do that.
Some interesting, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, Pavi, one thing to remember, too, is that if Harry and I did this list at this time for Republicans at this time in the 2016 cycle, we wouldn't have Donald Trump in the top 10.
Right.
Harry might have had him in the top 20 because, as I mentioned, he's smarter than me. But I wouldn't have had him.
Stop it.
I wouldn't have had him in the top 20. So, look, things change, right? This is, we are
Totally.
analyzing what we know now based on history, based on where we are now, and based on Trump being in the White House. But, you know, I mean, if your favorite candidate isn't in that top 10, if it's, you know, Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, if it's Deval Patrick, the former governor of Massachusetts, this does not mean that person has no chance.
I do think it's interesting, two names that struck me on this list, guys. Harry, Mitch Landrieu and Sherrod Brown as well. Why are they striking to you?
I think, you know, we're looking, number one, perhaps outside of the normal sort of choices. And a mayor, very, very difficult to imagine normally that a mayor would end up being a major party nominee. But we could, in fact, see that this time around, especially if the party is looking for someone with experience, but still outside of Washington. In terms of Sherrod Brown, look, he has a very populist record. If you're looking for a candidate who can beat Trump in the Midwest and beat him on his populist ways, who better than a Midwestern senator who is a populist?
With that
and I
voice
think
that
Sherrod
you
Brown-
mentioned.
Oh, I love that gravelly voice.
Sherrod Brown, I think, is a dark horse. Look, I would have pushed to have him higher if he wasn't up for re-election this November. I actually think his record, for everything that Harry just talked about, as well as his personal style, his voice, we joke, but it's true.
Yeah.
There's an authenticity there that I actually think he gets underrated, I think, and gets ignored more than he should. I think Harry and I are together on that one.
All right, gentlemen. You're both smart in my book.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
Thanks
I
for
didn't say
being
not
here.
smart. I just said he's smarter than me.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Thanks, gents. All right.
Thank you.